Reaper is an expensive yet very powerful DAW you can fully try out and test before purchasing. I have used Reaper since the beginning of 2015, so at the time of this video about 3.5 years. This series of tutorial videos is aimed primarily towards beginners. In the previous tutorials I show how to link MIDI items, equalize instruments, and ways to do automated modulation of more than just envelopes. In this video I'll show how to focus effects by using only parts of an instrument's frequencies to be affected. See, normally when you add an effect to a track chain, all the sound or frequencies coming from the instrument is affected. But without precisely controlling what frequencies will be affected, the added effect can add frequencies in several areas where you don't normally want. For instance, leading to bass moddiness. A good example is a reverb effect. Let me stop this. On the pluck, I'm going to add a reverb effect. I'm going to click the FX icon here. Click FX, add FX, and lucky there's one built into Reaper called Reverb. I'm going to use a preset here, sync wide. We'll just leave everything at its default settings. So let's listen to the pluck first without the effect and then with the effect. And in the track it sounds like this, or in the song it sounds like this. Okay, so as you can hear, it may be a little too much. So what we're going to do, stop the song first of all, we will now focus this reverb effect to make it affect only a certain part of the frequencies from the instrument. So we'll insert a track here underneath the pluck. We'll call this pluck reverb. I'll then drag this icon from the instrument down to the effect track to add a routing. So we'll add a routing of the audio. Now let's try and play it again. As you can see here, it immediately got a lot louder. And that is because now the instrument sound is coming from both the pluck track by itself and the effect track by itself. So we'll go in and turn off master send up here on the instrument track. Okay, now we'll move this, I'll cut it from the instrument track and I'll put it down on the effect track. Paste that right there. Move this one over to the side here a little bit. Okay, play the lead sound again. Sounds exactly like before. And sure, you could have used the Reaper wet dry mix up here to specify how much reverb you want on it. But still, if we want a lot more control, now that we have it on a dedicated track, what we can do is insert rear EQ, an equalizer, put it before the reverb. So now I can specify what frequencies to pass on from the instrument to the reverb effect. This reverb technique is something mixing engineers do quite often. For vocals, for instance, many times a steep low shelf high pass filter is put around 200 Hertz. And they cut off a bit up at 10 kilohertz. and sometimes they dock a little bit around 2K to deal with the consonants. But of course, ours is not a vocal track. But for drum reverbs, which can be difficult to deal with as you don't want too much ambience, again, they usually put in a steep filter at 200 Hertz, and then they cut off around 6K a lot. Sometimes all the way down to 4K or even 2K, but that's for drums. We're not dealing with drums, so we're going to cut off at about 500, a lot, and a lot at 10K. So now we hear the effect, reverb effect only. To mix it with the instrument, we'll have to go back and turn on master synth. So here it is, without the reverb, with the focused reverb, and with. And in the song itself. Alright, so far so good. But let's add it, let's make this pluck a little more interesting. So we'll go back here, we'll solo out the pluck. We'll go in and add a delay, rear delay. We'll set the time to about 2/8 notes. Put some feedback on it. A little bit of feedback. A lot of feedback. Okay, it sounds pretty cool. And in the song it sounds like this. But still maybe it's a little too much delay. So let's make a dedicated delay track where we can specify what frequencies we want affected. Again, I'll right click here, insert new track, put it on the reverb, pluck, delay. I'll turn off, actually let me move the delay down first, cut that from here, paste that in right here. I'll turn off the master synth so we only hear the delay effect. And we don't want to hear the reverb now either. We'll of course have to route it down from the instrument track down to the delay track. There we go, now we have the delay effect only. Now let's try and focus what frequencies will be affected. We'll add rear EQ. Okay, let's say I want some low frequencies to be affected only, not so they interfere with the bass, but just above it. I'll put rear EQ above delay. I don't need band 1, don't need that band. This one will change to a band pass and set it around 750. That doesn't matter what we set that to. So now only frequencies around 750 will be affected by the delay. We can minimize how much around 750 by changing the bandwidth. To mix that with the pluck instrument sound by itself, we'll turn on master synth. And to hear that, both of those, to hear it all with the reverb. Alright, so far so good. Let's add one more thing. We'll go back we'll turn off the reverb and delay effect. So back on the block instrument track, I'll click the FX icon and insert a bit reduction called bit depth reduction built into Reverb. I'll set it to 4 bits. Right there. Sounds pretty cool, but yeah, sure, we can adjust the wet dry mix. But for more control, we want to put it on a separate track. I'll add a track down here. Lock bit brush. We'll route from the instrument track to this new effect track. Turn off master set on the original instrument track. Cut this effect and move it down to the bit crush effect track. Paste that right there. So now we have the effect only. Now to specify what frequencies will be affected, we'll add rear EQ. Move it above the effect we want to be filtered. And let's say we want a band around 7.5K to be affected. Band pass, we set this to. Actually, let's set it to around 5K. And then we'll turn on the pluck master synth so we hear both the original sound and the effect. And let's turn on that on with the reverb and the delay. Alright, let's hear that with all the other instruments. Alright, but to make the pluck just a little more interesting, we can do one more thing. Something I showed you in the previous video. We can modulate the equalizer we have on the pluck delay track. We can modulate what band will our frequencies will go to the delay. So I'm going to click the frequency slider right here. Click parameter, the parameter button, click parameter modulation. I'm going to set the baseline a little below center, LFO modulation. Leave it at sine wave, tempo sync, speed 8/4 notes, set direction to center. Alrighty. Now it goes a little too low, so we'll put the baseline a little higher. Okay. It goes a little too far up and down, so we'll put the strength much lower than 50%. Let's put it around, let's see, we don't want it to go down to the bass, so that's pretty good there. We'll maybe want it a little higher sometimes. Okay, so we want it to modulate back and forth in that area right there. So what this modulation is doing here, it is taking the equalizer band pass and modulating the area back and forth, and that area will be sent to the delay, and the delay will make the delay effect on that particular band. Now to hear this effect alone, let's turn off the master synth on the instrument track. Alright, it gives a good movement to the sound. Okay, now let's turn on the reverb also, and the bit crush. And let's hear everything. Alright, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching. In my next video, I will show how you can overcome the Reaper limitation that you cannot do MIDI FX takes. That is, you cannot, without a workaround, just have an effect on one or more MIDI items on a track. Right now in Reaper you have to do all the effects on the whole track instead of on a single MIDI item. But there's a workaround on that. I'll show you that in the next video.